Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to episode 1 of Jedi Academy Lore Run. Before I get back into the gameplay, I'd like to thank you guys for all your different solutions and suggestions to get this thing rolling again. I had a video kind of talk about the copyright troubles I had and all the sort of issues I just have with the whole Disney IP and just the way YouTube goes about things. And I managed to find a workaround using a combination of what a lot of you guys have told me. And I really do appreciate it. And I said before I had 3 episodes recorded and only the first one edited. Well, when I came to find out that I got a copyright strike, I was pretty frustrated, so I actually ended up deleting the unfinished episodes that I recorded. So I'm going to have to play through this again, which obviously I don't mind because, you know, I'm excited to do this. But before I hop into it, I just want to thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoy this lore run. So for this episode, we will be doing both Tatooine missions and maybe the Bakura mission. I would like to keep these around a half hour to 45 minutes tops. So we'll see what time allows. But for our first mission, Mercenary activity on Tatooine. We've been receiving a number of reports that the disciples of Ragnos have been trying to hire mercenaries and smugglers to haul some cargo. If we can contact one of these mercenary groups, maybe we can find out the cult's base of operations. One of the smuggling rings that we know about is based on Mos Eisley. Go there and see what you can find out.
This one sounds like it could be nasty, so I'll be going with you. You'll find some of the galaxy's worst lowlifes on Tatooine.
Alright. Now, Jaden Korr is a really interesting character for a couple different reasons. And one of those reasons is he actually has a natural inclination for dark side abilities. He's a kind of an introspective character when you read about him in the expanded universe. And being such kind of not necessarily a brooding character, but being such a closed-off character who kind of holds his darkness within him, it's kind of hard for a lot of characters that he encounters to kind of see the sort of burden he actually carries. And as you can see here, we have our neutral force powers. These powers are all leveled up automatically. So whenever we complete a certain amount of missions, we will get points in all of these. So we actually don't touch these. They level up naturally on their own. Then we have our light side abilities, and then we have our dark side abilities. We have force absorption, force heal, mind trick, and force protection for light side. And then force drain, force grip, force lightning, and force rage for dark side. Now, because he has a sort of natural inclination for dark side abilities, I think we should go with force grip as our first one. We don't want to go force lightning quite yet, even though that actually becomes a very important power to the character later on. But seeing as force grip is kind of the more primal, maybe not necessarily primal, but the more straightforward and less advanced of the dark side abilities, I think this is a good place to go for. So we're going to go with force grip. Straightforward and brutal. Then we get to pick our weapons. Now, it's good that we have the DL-44 Heavy Blaster equipped because this is actually his firearm of choice in the novels Riptide and Crosscurrent. So we can pretty much grab whatever else we want. And this is what I usually like to grab. The bowcaster and just the automatic rifle.
Well, I'll be the Millennium Falcon. Han, Chewie, anybody here? I guess they're out. Luke's info was good. These are definitely freelance cargo ships. I've got a bad feeling about this. Listen, stay here and guard the entrance to the docking bay. If anyone tries to enter or leave, detain them. I'll head over to the Crate Cantina and ask around. I know some people there.
Jedi? Me? No, not yet. I'm one of Kyle Katarn's students. He's talking to some locals. We're investigating a cult that's been cropping up everywhere. You must be Chewbacca. Why are you here? Leia Organa? Wow, must be important business.
Alright. Now, since the time of Return of the Jedi, not too much has changed on Tatooine. It's still an extremely dangerous place full of all sorts of goons and disincredulous people, you could say. The only difference is, now that there is a power vacuum, that the Hutts have been essentially neutered. There's all kinds of different mercenary groups vying for power. And of course, we already get our first taste of fan service by having a mission with Chewbacca, so there's that. In this huge power vacuum is even more exaggerated, by the fact that the climate upon Tatooine during this time actually became extremely arid, more so than usual. So there's all sorts of fighting for resources going on. Let's see. I forget what this is. I think this is ammo, maybe. Yeah, it is. Okay, I just want to be sure.
Is it just me, or are the Rhodians kind of creepy?
I know what you mean. Those weird antenna things, right?
Yeah, that in the nose. Pretty spooky.
Yeah, what is that? On second thought.
Come on, Chewie. Pretty sure you shot me.
We need more cover. Let's get back to our ship. Free target practice.
Ooh, my Mario Bros on him. But I'm pretty sure it's just a protocol droid. Oops. That's what we're looking to shoot. I thought that was Chewie shooting at me. I was like, what the heck, dude?
What are you doing?
Okay, this is not where we're supposed to be going.
We can't get to the ships. The whole place is locked down.
Stop. Get behind him.
Charge up our shields. Oh, jeez. What is it with Trandoshans and flight suits? The flight suits on Trandoshans are like the Adidas tracksuits of Star Wars. It just seems like they all wear them.
Who is it?
Hope we're going the right way. I think we are.
I'll disengage the tractor beams if you think you can hold these guys.
Yeah, Chewie, you can finally do something.
What are you doing?
Oh, I thought that guy was dead. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Ouch. Yeah, we might need to invest in some force healing pretty soon. That ability becomes like a necessity later in the game. Like you almost have to get it. Yeah, if it isn't already obvious, I tend to favor you to use the lightsaber, obviously, because I think it's way cooler, but we'll use the blaster a little bit too, here and there. Okay, maybe not this time.
Not good enough.
See, they can resist your force powers. Eventually, you can catch them off guard. See there? You can kind of implement them into your attack sequence and catch them off guard. It gets crazy later in the game. Soon I'll be fighting like 3-4 people at once.
Now for the Falcon. The tractor beams are down, Chewbacca. I'm on my way.
Did you see anything? Who is it? Did you see anything?
Come on, get him. Oh, I hate when they crouch. Okay, there's one behind me. Close.
Oh, did I miss something? Good to see you too, Chewie. Guess these mercs didn't want us here. Oh, that's high praise coming from a Wookiee.
Thanks, I think.
These mercs aren't cheap. Someone in this cult must have a lot of credits. Or worse, it's backed by the Remnant. Listen, we gotta get back to Luke and tell him what's going on. Can you tell Leia about the cult?
If he hadn't shown up when he did, I'd have been in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, well, the way Chewie tells it, you held your own. Nice work.
Kyle told me about what happened in Mos Eisley. It's a good thing Chewie was there, but you did well regardless.
What?
It looks like this cult and the Imperials may be working together more closely than we thought.
Pretty sure I did the majority of the work, Chewie, but okay. So yeah, the Imperials are openly allying themselves with the Disciples of Ragnaros, a faction of Dark Jedi, of all people. It just kind of goes to show how far they've really fallen since Return of the Jedi, or since the Thrawn trilogy even. They're really, grasping for straws now.
We've been looking into the shuttle crash, and it doesn't look like laser damage or a mechanical failure was responsible. It's almost as if something just tore apart the engines.
Alright, Mission 2 on Tatooine, Droid Recovery. A moisture farmer on Tatooine recently overheard a group of smugglers talking about a Sith cult in a local bar, and had his R5 droid record the conversation. Unfortunately, he became afraid, and sold the droid to some Jawas before leaving Tatooine. We need to get a hold of that droid before the Jawas wipe its memory. You are to locate the Jawas, purchase the droid, and return to the Academy.
This should be a total blue milk run, kid. But it'll give you a chance to pick up some negotiating skills. Let's head to Tatooine.
Blue Milk Run. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna need some force healing. And, that's a power he also made use of as well. I believe in, Riptide or Cross Current. It was the first one, so Cross Current. He actually, gets wounded in the very beginning of that novel from a blaster bolt. He used it a bunch of other times, but that's the first instance.
Jawas, never around when you need them. Tracks. Maybe they've already come and gone. Go see if you can find their sandcrawler. They might have stopped in that canyon. I'll talk to the moisture farmers, see if they know anything about this cult.
All right.
Don't worry, Jawas are pretty friendly.
Alright. Now, as I talked about earlier, Tatooine is going through a pretty significant climate change. Obviously, it's arid like always, but it's a lot more arid than usual. So the Sand People are even more hostile than ever, you could say. Because they are also fighting for resources. I think there's one up on the ridge. Yep. And they will shoot me in the back if I let them. And their snipers really do hurt, so you gotta take them out. I always thought it was interesting that, like, I get that the whole theme with Tusken Raiders is, they're kind of xenophobic and, very tribalistic. But I always thought it was kind of strange that they were still hostile towards the Jawas, because we learn in, Knights of the Old Republic that Jawas and Tusken Raiders are actually very closely related biologically. They come from a very recent common ancestor. Well, recent comparatively. And I think they are aware of that. But I guess that's not surprising, because even we as humans in Star Wars and real life are pretty tribalistic towards one another. I don't feel like that's a good thing, for the record. But the fact of the matter, unfortunately, that's what history has shown, and it's sad. And it kind of makes you wonder how different Tusken Raiders would be if you know, they weren't the way that they are. Obviously, they haven't been treated very good, but they're not really known for their kindness either. Already we've killed like a dozen Sand People. Who do you think's a better person at killing Sand People? Anakin Skywalker or Jaden Korr? Let's find out. Yeah, a lot of people claim that Empire Strikes Back is the most dark Star Wars film. And I agree to a point. Its theme is probably the darkest. You know, you really have a sense of foreshadowing and foreboding the entire film, and sort of hopelessness as the Empire. Okay, since you know, the Empire is obviously making its big move and stuff, but Episode 2 and 3 were pretty dark with Anakin, and I'm thinking of this.
You're not an R5 unit.
The hell? Oh, okay.
Can't
Thought that was C-3PO. But like the scene where he kills all the Sand People, that's pretty dark. And I remember being a little kid watching it in theaters. I was like, damn, that's probably like the most brutal thing I've ever seen. And then growing up, my dad let me watch Predator and Alien and all kinds of other up things. So I guess that didn't last too long. But point being, it's still pretty dark for a Star Wars film. And Anakin became something of a legend after that event too, to the Tusken Raiders. Like, he committed such an atrocity in their eyes that they had him as something of like a legend, or like a nightmare almost. He became part of their mythos, essentially, as like a vengeful spirit. Maybe it wasn't in Episode 2 exactly, maybe it was more so his time as Darth Vader. I can't exactly remember, so if anyone might know that, feel free to correct me in the comics. Or in the comments, not the comics. Because I actually am pretty curious, and I'll forget to look it up. Ooh. Whoa! Ooh! Yeah, that hurt. It's okay, we're gonna speedrun through that again. Didn't give him a chance that time. Yeah, I'm actually recording this a day later. I had to sleep off the ass whooping that guy actually gave me. I actually went back and watched the video of that, and the amount of disrespect that dude laid on me. It was like the craziest combo I've ever seen in this game. And it was probably the coolest thing that Tusken Raiders ever done. Yeah. But thinking back on what I was saying about the Tuskens, what I was saying may have made them seem a little bit too one-dimensional. And what I mean by that is because Tusken Raiders don't live in a centralized society. They live amidst different tribes that are all fractioned off. They're not bound to be as brutal as the next. It's going to vary how benevolent or brutal they are. And although there are brutal traditions that they all follow, because it just comes with being a Tusken, the certain traditions, there are instances where they are open enough to potentially take in non-Tusken people into their tribe. And once they earn the respect of the tribe, they are just as Tusken as everybody else. Shradhet and his son Ashradhet, whom would later become Darth Krayt, are both examples of that. And I'll talk more about Tusken traditions in my upcoming Tusken Raider race video. But thinking on that really kind of makes it evident that Darth Krayt's fall to the dark side was really a twofold tragedy in the eyes of his father's ideals. And what I mean by that is both Shradhet and Ashradhet.
Are these even the right
different.
Jawas?
But yeah, both Shradhet and Ashradhet are both individuals who eventually came to be the war leader of their respective tribe. And although there are positions in Tusken Raider society that are just as respected, if not more respected, than war leader, the warlord has final say in pretty much every part of their society. They make the decisions when it comes to the raids, and all kinds of things along those lines. So, yeah. And when Shradhet led his Tusken Raiders, everything he did, every time he went to war with the settlers, or went to battle against them,
If I can get up there.
it was done out of absolute necessity. And what I mean by that is, it was done only to assure that the Tusken Raiders were going to survive. It was paramount to the survival of the Tusken Raiders. It wasn't really a choice. And when he did, carry out these raids, he never killed unarmed people, and he tried to keep the casualties as low as possible on both sides. And it was so honorable that even Ki-Adi-Mundi in the Outlander miniseries came to respect him, respect what he was doing. But Ashradhet, his son, post Order 66, when he went to be reunited with his Tusken people, he did not lead them in such a way. And although it's never outright said, it's strongly implied, and I think it's implied so strongly that you could say it's honestly fact. Obviously, being with what he was, seeing what he has gone through post Order 66 and the things he had witnessed and the things he was forced to endure, it's no surprise that he was in a really bad state of mind. But at this point, he was really starting to seep himself into the dark side. It was really the beginnings. And everything his father did was out of absolute necessity, and it was done with a sense of, what could you say? A sense of carefulness. I know that's not the most eloquent way to put it, but, you know, he was... Oh, poor guy. That's sad. He walked right into it. What do you think was going to happen? You know, he was considerate of all those who were involved in the consequences of what he was doing. But Ashrad had... He seemed to lead with the philosophy that he should stamp out any threat before it even begins. He wiped out entire settlements for the sole reason that they were encroaching on his land, the Tusken people, and taking resources. And he made the point that, yeah, a lot of settlers have killed a lot of Tuskens over the years. And it was that sort of justification that he used to pretty much do whatever he wanted. And that was just go amidst a killing spree, honestly. And just wipe out entire settlements without even being provoked. And it was so bad.
You must be the droid we were sent for. But it doesn't look like there's any Jawas left to negotiate with. Well, I guess you better just follow me.
Guess we better just steal you. Yeah, it was so bad that Obi-Wan Kenobi had even heard about it on when he was, you know, hiding in Tatooine. And when they coincidentally ran into each other, he felt the need to kill Ashrad. And I strongly believe that their duel was to be to the death, and it was only by coincidence that he taken off his arm that his life was spared. And although we come to learn later on that it was unfortunate that Ashrad had actually survived, it was fortunate for him, because that was all Obi-Wan needed to do at that point in order to stop what he was doing to the Tusken people. Because those melee weapons those Tuskens were attacking me with, the long stave-like weapons with the big pointed end, they're called Gaddafi sticks, and you need two arms to properly wield one. And if you can't properly wield a Gaddafi stick because of injury or just the lack of ability to do so for whatever other reason, you're unworthy, and you are banished. And it's honestly no concern of theirs whether you survive or not at that point.
I was starting to get worried. Any problems?
Not unless you count the sand people I ran into.
Well, you're still in one piece, so you must have handled yourself all right. Let's get this droid back to the academy.
Good work, Jaden. Kyle tells me you recovered the droid on your own. It's too bad about the Jawas. R2 will scour the droid's memory banks and see what information it turns up.
Too bad about the Jawas. That's all there is to really say about it. Too bad. But yeah, my point being, it's really kind of sad to really kind of ponder Darth Krayt's story. Not really because you feel bad for Ashrad, but because you feel bad for his father. I mean, can you imagine what his father would, you know, say or even think of his son not only failing as a Jedi, but putting such a blemish on the Tusken people? He gave people reason, again, to fear the Tuskens, and of course they're going to be feared anyways, but he, you know, led without honor, and he led without any sort of care for the consequences of his actions. He was seeping himself into the dark side, and he was just becoming a catalyst for further tension between the settlements and the Tusken people. So it's really just kind of a two-pronged tragedy in that regard, if that makes any sense.
I have some troubling news. While Kyle and I attended to the crashed shuttle, someone broke into my quarters and sliced into my records. R2 is trying to figure out what they may be looking for.
So, how's your training going? I've been sent on a few errands, nothing exciting.
Same here. I guess that's just how the training works.
I thought it was just me. Ever wonder if your master is holding you back? You know, making sure you don't become too powerful?
Why would you say that?
Well, Kyle doesn't seem to really foster my talents. I've gone on a couple of missions with him, but doesn't let me do any of the really important stuff.
Maybe he's observing you. You know, seeing how you accomplish your missions. I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm not so sure. What do you think, Jaden?
Well, Ready to get back out there? Did I interrupt something?
No, not at all. Well, I'm ready. Let's go.
Alright, so now we see Rosh Pennant harboring some resentment towards Kyle Katarn and the way the Jedi are running his training. As hokey as that dialogue was, it does become important later on, as you probably already know if you played this game, but if not, that was a noteworthy scene, so keep that in mind. So that's it for episode 1. I would really like to thank you guys again for all the support and all the different suggestions and alternatives you guys offered me, but I didn't think I'd be able to fully go on with this series. It really meant a lot, and I hope you guys continue to tune in for episode 2. So again guys, I really appreciate you tuning in, and like always, may the Force be with you.